What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Right before I get into this video, I always want to remind you guys, if you want to donate to this channel, if you want to show love, Too Raw for TV, I put a link in the description box where you can donate if you choose to. Now, this video is a response video to a video that Ticket TV did yesterday regarding Andre Iguodala. I strongly agree with what Ticket was saying in this video, man, so much that I had to just put in my sentiments, as far as Iguodala not being a Hall of Famer. I believe it was C.J. McCollum, I believe, that mentioned in a podcast that he thought that not only was Iguodala a Hall of Famer, but he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. And that's one of the most ridiculous things I have ever heard in my life. You know what I'm saying? Ridiculous. Because if you're saying that he deserved to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Reggie Miller, who infamously was not voted into the Hall of Fame in the first ballot, I mean, as Dick Nixon would say, that's just plain poppycock. I mean, come on, man. Like, look, let's be honest, okay? Let's strip everything away from the situation. How can anybody justify Andre Iguodala being in the Hall of Fame, a first ballot Hall of Famer now, but Chris Webber's still not in the Hall of Fame? It took Sidney Moncrief 2 fucking decades to be elected to the Hall of Fame. Sidney Moncrief, one of the best players and the best shooting guard in the history of the Milwaukee Bucks. All right. Ben Wallace still isn't in the Hall of Fame. Kevin Johnson isn't in the Hall of Fame. I know he had all those injuries, but if you remember Kevin Johnson in the peak of his powers, he was arguably a top, I would say, after Magic's injury, Magic retired, before Penny Hardaway's emergence. You can make an argument that Kevin Johnson was a top 2 point guard in the NBA, man. You know what I'm saying? Him and John Stockton. He's not in the Hall of Fame. There's a plethora of people who should be in the Hall of Fame. Tom Chambers, 20,000 career points. He's not in the Hall of Fame. But Andre Iguodala should be in the Hall of Fame. The best thing Andre Iguodala got going for him on his resume are championships as a role player, generally speaking, and that 2015 NBA Finals MVP. That Finals MVP is the best thing he got going for him on his resume. And it's true that virtually every other Finals MVP winner is in the Hall of Fame or is going to be in the Hall of Fame. But there's one who's not. And this is the category that Andre Iguodala belongs in. You know who the one other Finals MVP winner who's not going to be in the Hall of Fame ever? Cedric Cornbread Maxwell. And that's kind of the tier that Andre Iguodala belongs in. A very, very good player who had an exceptional series, but he's not good enough, and his career was not good enough to be in the Hall of Fame. Another thing he had in common with Cedric Cornbread Maxwell was Maxwell's best season statistically was before Larry Bird played with the Boston Celtics. Okay, the year before Larry Bird arrived at the Boston Celtics was Cedric Cornbread Maxwell's first season with the Celtics. Their first year, I believe they went 29-53. When Bird came the very next year, they had a 33-game win improvement. Andre Iguodala, his best years were with the Philadelphia 76ers. He never averaged 20 points per game. Okay? They did not win. And ask yourself this. Ask yourself this, for those of you guys who are still on the fence. When you think of the best players in the NBA in the mid to late 2000s, Okay? Think of all of the great players. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal still in his prime, Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, even, you know, some of the slightly lower tier guys, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Brandon Roy, whose career was just ruined, by injuries. Okay? I'm trying to think of Allen Iverson, if I haven't said him, Carmelo Anthony, Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. Okay? I'm just trying to think of the emergence of Dwight Howard. All of these guys, all of these great players, okay? Even that point guard from Utah, the Jazz, Deron Williams, all of these players, even Joe Johnson would come up in my mind before Andre Iguodala. Matter of fact, fuck that. When you think of the best players in his position, he was more a small forward. I guess you could say he was a swingman, but more or less he played the small forward position. Does Andre Iguodala come up in your mind as the one of the best players in his position in the mid to late 2000s? No, no. And it's not a knock on him. But goddamn it, we gotta stop doing this shit, man. We gotta stop putting in guys in the Hall of Fame because we like them. Let's give him a Symphony Award because we like him. No, no. He's not a Hall of Famer. There's guys in the Hall of Fame now that don't belong in there. Be honest with you, I'm not even certain Trace McGrady's a Hall of Famer. Could he win shit, man? Look, I know championships aren't everything. They're not. But McGrady, not only did he not win, right? You can make the argument that his best years, okay, like injuries kind of ruined his career to an extent. Like with McGrady. Let me see something right quick. The numbers were great statistically. 7-time All Star. One, two, three, four, five. 5 seasons over 25 points per game. 8 seasons over 20 points per game. Right? But did he sustain it long enough? Did he sustain his greatness long enough? Because I have to just keep making the Chris Webber argument. Because Chris Webber should be a Hall of Famer. I don't know what Chris Webber did. I don't know what people are not saying about Chris Webber. But how is he not in the Hall of Fame by now? This guy's been retired for a decade now, and Chris Webber's not in the Hall of Fame. Something is wrong. Now, even though I said something about championships with McGrady, really I should say playoff success. It does stain your legacy a little bit. It stains your legacy when you don't win championships. But look, certain guys, Barkley, Ewan, Malone, Stockton, we all know the common denominator with all those guys is why they didn't win championships. One guy, Michael Jordan, arguably, I'll say this, the greatest player of all time. Because you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you got Wilt Chamberlain. I know some people think Wilt shouldn't be in that list, but I just think Wilt was so dominant in his day, man. He deserves to be in that conversation. Okay. Um, you got, but they all had playoff success. They all went to the finals. They had deep playoff runs. McGrady, in his prime, what did he do? He didn't really do much as far as even getting out of the first round. That's my knock on him. But with Andre Iguodala, you gotta come more than just championships, man. That's a weak argument. He was a role player for the most part, a role player, especially the last couple championships. That's like saying that, I know I mentioned him a couple times now. I like Gleason, man. All right, Jackie Gleason. All right, one of the greatest comedians in the history of television, a pioneer in the history of television. The Honeymoon is one of the highest rated programs in the history of television. Jackie Gleason never won an Emmy. Never won an Emmy. Ray Romano won 2 Emmys when he did Everybody Loves Raymond, right? Would anybody argue, and I think Ray Romano would agree with this, would anybody argue that Ray Romano, A, is a more significant figure in the history of television and a greater comedian than Jackie Gleason? No, but he never won an Emmy. So it's stupid to just look at championship. Glenn Close, one of the greatest female actors, fuck that, one of the greatest actors in history of cinema. In the history of cinema. Never won an Oscar. Never won an Oscar. You know who else ain't never won an Oscar? The goddamn guy who has a character that everybody's crying about right now, who's sick about because his character died in Avengers Endgame. Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. ain't just been a Johnny come lately. Robert Downey Jr., I've enjoyed his work since he did Chaplin in 1992. I think Chaplin, he should have won a fucking Oscar. He was Charlie Chaplin in that movie. He's had one of the greatest comebacks, but in the history of cinema. Robert Downey Jr., a tremendous actor, but he's never won an Oscar. For years, until recently, Leonardo DiCaprio had never won an Oscar. And he's considered arguably the greatest actor of his generation. So basically what I'm saying, I'm using these as equivalents to a championship. A championship means a lot, but people put too much goddamn emphasis on the fucking championship. He's not a fucking Hall of Famer. He's not. It makes me sick when I hear people say this shit. When people say shit like the legendary Steve Kerr, he was not fucking legend. He wasn't even a starter. Stop this shit because you like people. Stop it.